it does freak me out that people are cheering on the death of things like the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or these other legacy outlets that have large newsrooms and lawyers that can fight lawsuits. And I don't think we should be as happy about that as we are.
I think that's a really good point, and one that I don't think about very often, which is like the legal side of things and like how, yeah, these media outlets do serve as a sort of like a barrier for protecting the journalists that are breaking these stories. And sometimes we just think to ourselves, not, this is just a mouthpiece for the establishment and that's all that matters. And so they can get wrecked along with all their journalists because they're all complicit, you know? And
Right. Yeah. And, two things about that. One, I think I work for a small newsroom, and I can tell you, even in a small newsroom, it's so hard to get anyone to even agree on. Like, there's no way my editors are going to be able to change my whole critical mind. So they're not going to spin my stories into some positive thing. It's not going to happen. And this is a small newsroom we're talking about. In a large newsroom, it's even more so the case that you have this kind of like inability to shape shift every single story that comes out. And then I also think, that there is this importance of law and things that aren't necessarily getting thought about by the everyday person. And I just want to point out that I believe it was John Carreyrou for the Wall Street Journal, who reported on Theranos, and the owner of the Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, he also was invested in Theranos. He let them report on it and investigate it and find out there was fraud because he wanted ultimately to know, right? Like, he doesn't want to be invested in fraud. So while it's easy to write off these billionaires owning these media outlets as like, oh, they're doing it so they can give themselves a positive image, which there's surely truth to, it's also because they want to be on top of the information first. And they don't necessarily want to have someone spin the information in their favor. They just want to know about it first. Like, that's the whole concept of Bloomberg, right? To me, there's too much hate for the legacy media outlets. It's deserved in a lot of sense. They've made a lot of mistakes, but we don't understand how much we actually need them. Yeah.